Andersonville National Historic Site, where Ricky explores its POW museum and the grounds of this notorious Civil War prison camp.
More than 500,000 American men and women have found themselves prisoners of war since the founding of our nation. The Andersonville National Historic Site is where the nation honors their courage. Hi.
Hello, welcome to the National Prisoner of War Museum.
Thank you.
Here in the National Prisoner of War Museum, we explore the experience of American prisoners of war, beginning with the American Revolution all the way to present conflict.
Touring the galleries, you can learn about what it means to be a prisoner from their own words.
I already began to pray. I really didn't know what they were going to do with me. And I was afraid. I was scared.
I had 5 Iraqi guys come over and put their guns pointed at me and trying to stand me up. I thought, well, I guess I'm not dead after all. So I was looking it up.
Rare artifacts belonging to prisoners of war fill the museum, as do the voices of family members talking about their experiences waiting anxiously back home.
And the families that were able to pick up the pieces are very, very blessed, because a lot of us were not able to do that.
So why are all American prisoners of war honored at Andersonville? Because this is the site of America's most notorious war prison. During the Civil War, the Confederacy held thousands of Union soldiers captive at what was then called Camp Sumter.
A rare item we have on display in the museum are original clothing worn by a prisoner here during the Civil War at Camp Sumter, the military prison. And this is underwear, but it's representative of the fact that prisoners were not being provided their clothing by the Confederacy. They were scavenging what was left of their own uniforms or taking it from dead prisoners before they were buried.
To explore the original stockade site of the Civil War prison, pick up a free audio guide and take a self-guided tour by car, foot, or bike.
We're walking the historic approach to the north entrance gate of the Camp Sumter military prison, what was commonly referred to as the Andersonville prison of the Civil War. What you see in front of you is a partial reconstruction of the stockade wall that surrounded the prison site.
Tall pine trees cut from the surrounding forest and buried into the ground created a 15-foot wall enclosing 26.5 acres of open field.
Welcome to Andersonville.
Prisoners were exposed to heat and sun in summer, cold and rain in winter, with no means of escape. This tiny creek was the only drinking water source for the prisoners here. It quickly became so unsanitary that diseases like dysentery and diphtheria quickly spread among the men. That's because what they called the sink was also their toilet. Prisoners died here at a rate of more than 30 a day. It might look like a wide open field now, but imagine 32,000 men trapped here under armed guard. Prisoners here coined a term commonly used today, deadline. But for them, it was the line 19 feet inside the pine log fence, where if they crossed, they would be immediately shot dead.
This corner is a place where we replicate the appearance of the shelters that prisoners were improvising, using whatever materials they had, including tents, blankets, ponchos, coats, and other items.
Sometimes several to a tent,
yes,
right?
Yeah, as many as 10 in some cases. There's something important missing, and that is, of course, the presence of 50, 60, 100 prisoners milling about in this corner, their smell, their activity, the ever-present watchfulness of the guards on the towers, and the sense of drudgery and challenge that faced every man as a prisoner of war here during the Civil War.
Nearly 13,000 of those prisoners did escape the drudgery of this place through death. They are buried here at the Andersonville National Military Cemetery, which continues to serve as a final resting place for American veterans. Whether you're touring the cemetery, the stockade, or the museum, the Andersonville National Historic Site tells the story of the struggle for life, no matter the circumstance.
Now it's off to Savannah to admire a 100-year-old farm with one of the country's most impressive collections of bamboo. Bamboo is the largest member of the grass family and one of the fastest growing plants in the world. And believe it or not, there's an old farm in Savannah with one of the largest varieties of bamboo in the United States, the University of Georgia's Bamboo Farm and Coastal Gardens.
They go about and see which bamboo. We have green bamboo, we have yellow bamboo, we have orange bamboo, we have black bamboo, we have mottled bamboo. We just have all kinds of bamboo.
There are over 100 varieties spread throughout 51 acres of land. However, bamboo isn't the only attraction.
We have camellia gardens that has over about 1,000 varieties of camellias, and trails that they can walk through, a gazebo they can sit in and just observe the camellias. An iris garden that has about 400 varieties of bearded iris, which is just almost unheard of in the southeast. We have roses, and we have just areas under trees that they can sit in. We have bananas.
The gardens are open 7 days a week, and there's currently no charge, so bring your dog, your picnic basket, and feel free to go explore the grounds or simply lounge.
A lot of people do the walking tour because they want to do it at their own pace. You can visit and stay and sit down at a park bench along the way and look at nature, the butterflies and the birds and the bees.
Before the Civil War, much of this coastal farmland was home to rice plantations, but by the early 1900s, the owners of this land began planting giant bamboo, and it thrived. At one time, there were over 165 varieties. The bamboo was used through the years for experimental purposes by the USDA and by industrialists like Henry Ford and Harvey Firestone. The farm then became one of the first plant introduction stations for the USDA. But as budget constraints grew, they shut down their operations, and in 1979, the area was assigned to the University of Georgia's College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. And now the farm has a bright future. The university system, along with significant volunteers and monetary support from the organization Friends of Coastal Gardens, they have big-time plans.
Everybody's familiar with corn mazes around the country. This will be a first bamboo maze of this consequence. And so we think that's going to be a major attraction for children and families.
That's right, towering bamboo stalks rising higher than your average corn maze. And unlike corn, it won't disappear come wintertime.
We think that a person can come here anytime during the year and learn something about gardening, learn something about the natural habitat in this region of Georgia, and be inspired enough to go back and turn it into something useful that they can put in their own yard or with their own facility.
The Bamboo Farm and Coastal Gardens, a hidden gem located near the south end of Savannah. Stop by on your way to the coast, or take your time and make a day of this one-of-a-kind garden variety. That's all for now. Until next time, pleasant journeys.
Please.
No! I quit. Nah. They're in my nose, as you decided.
Yeah. I've been eating them, been snorting them, and at a certain point,
Hair normal. No. Alfalfa's moving.
Hey, you gotta face the camera, don't you? Stop it, David.
Oh, I didn't know you were behind me.
I don't want to go fast. Known for producing some extraordinary chocolates. We're visiting... I'm sorry.